Hello everyone and welcome to this 13th coding challenge video. Now normally these are full-length long videos, but today I'm going to try and do a quick coding challenge video. Today's goal is to basically create a batch thumbnail generator. I'm going to be taking these base images here, which is just some raw footage of kind of ink drops that I recorded a long time ago, and I want to basically automate the process of choosing these files, having the script automatically pick a time and render out and fix up that thumbnail for basic previewing elsewhere. Now, this is something that can be done to prepare extensions, big packs of things that need to have image and video thumbnails in the same format or in a small format, and this concept can apply to a lot of different things. So before we get started, I do want to remind you down below, hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming out twice weekly in the channel, and down in the description you can check out my GitHub, where I will likely be posting this as I finish this. Follow us there for coding updates, and in the description follow us on Instagram for other live updates. If you're not already a member of the Discord server, make sure you come and join to get help with scripting, extensions, plugins, submit tutorial ideas, and much more. And if you'd like to help support us on YouTube, you can do so in the description down below by becoming a member, supporter, premium supporter, or VIP, and that comes with cool perks like badges, Discord status, VIP streams, and much more. And also in the description, check out the links for AE Scripts, Gumroad, and Adobe Exchange for other cool stuff I make. Alright, so I want this to be as simple as possible. I don't even want a UI for the script. I want to choose the folder or give it a folder on my computer full of footage that I want to generate thumbnails for, and then I want it to automatically import those, create compositions for each one of them, find a good thumbnail point, render those out, and make sure my PNG or JPEG thumbnails that are rendered out have the correct naming. Because as you know, when you render out images in After Effects, it always adds like the frame number or basically 5 digits after your file name. So we're going to also be looking at fixing that. So to get started, I'm just going to use ExtendScript today, I think, because I can kind of do stuff quickly in ExtendScript. So let's use ExtendScript, and we're going to start by basically having a folder. Our folder is going to be the starting point, which all of our footage comes from. In this case, I have this path here. We're going to say is equal to a folder in this path. And because I'm on Windows, I don't believe it likes this slash or wants 2 of them. So I'm just going to make it the correct format and replace that with the /. Now, we want to get all the files in this folder. So we're going to say var files is equal to folder.getFiles. Now, if I alert my files, you can see we're going to have an array of all of our MOV files in this case. If you wanted to, you could filter out other elements that you don't want in here. If you just want videos, then you could do that. But now we're going to loop through our files. And you know, we should probably put all of this in like a main function with our folder. So we'll just say main folder. And this way we can just provide it with a folder, and it's basically going to do all the work for us. So we need to first import all of the items here. We're going to need a variable for our, I guess, item. And we'll also want eventually a variable for each comp and possibly each layer. So we're going to say var I is equal to 0, I is less than our files.length, increment I by 1. Now we need to run the import operation. So I'll say app.project.import file, and I believe it's just import file. It might be .items, but then we give it a new import options with a file, files I, and close that out. I'm gonna go ahead and check the guide here so that I can make sure that the import file method is just app.project.import file. Cool. So if we run this right now, it should actually just import all of those files for us, which is a good place to start. We can go ahead and make sure we can connect to After Effects CC 2022. And in this case, it's giving me one of these weird things, so I need to restart ExtendScript, I think. Sometimes you have to start the app, a certain app first. I don't know, it's confusing. I think I need to restart After Effects is the issue here. So now we'll launch After Effects and we'll paste in our script code here. We can also add an app.begin undo group. Just say thumbnail process. And then after everything, app.end undo group. Right. Now it's letting us connect to After Effects. Perfect. We put them side by side here. When we run this, now we're going to import all of those items, and we can easily undo it with a single back button. So now, once we've imported them, each one of these needs to become a composition. We're going to assume that this project is blank. So now we're going to loop through all of the items we've imported. Let's create an array called items instead. And since this is returning a value, we're going to push that in there. That way we can just loop through the items. So technically, if there was other stuff in here, we could then still process it and not have issues. Now for each one of these, we need to have a comp. So comp is equal to app.project.items. We're going to add a comp. The name is going to be items i.name, items i.width, items i.height, word wrap. I think it's pixel aspect ratio, duration and frame rate. So items i dot duration, items i dot frame rate, something like that, right? Then we can say comp dot open in view. This, if it works, should create our compositions. Let's see here. Okay, now we've created each of these compositions with all the information matching the original clips. We now need to add the original clips into here. To do that, we're going to grab our layer variable. Before we've opened up our composition, which we really don't have to do, but we'll say layer is equal to comp.layers.add. We're going to add the current item we're looking at. So that way it just will add each item to its composition that it should be. So this will basically just create compositions for us with our original footage. Now we need to decide what's a good thumbnail time in the video to create a thumbnail from. This could be, of course, different depending on your project. A lot of times if you're working on like a batch of like in or out type of titles, it's going to end up being the same time for all of them. You could also employ some interesting code or algorithms to analyze the pixels and see what's the best frame based on colors or brightness that you detect. But for simplicity's sake today, we're going to just pick a random time. And this could even be mathematical. So most of these clips are between, 20 and 50 seconds. Instead of saying, okay, 1 second for each of these, we could say halfway maybe. Halfway is generally a good point to check the footage here. If we go to halfway of any of these videos, there's some good ink blots or ink flows going on. So we can do that mathematically and not have too much issues. The way we're going to do this is by saying comp.time is equal to comp.duration divided by 2. Now this isn't going to actually set the like in and out times. This is just going to move the current time indicator to halfway of each of these compositions, as we will now see. Each of these is exactly a halfway. Now that we have it here, we know we have some generally good looking stuff that we want to render out. So the next step would be to basically create a work area that's just 1 frame long, and then add this to the render queue, add some kind of JPEG or PNG preset, render it, and then we can do the name changing. So how do we go about doing this operation? Well, let's go to our guide and we'll look up work area start. We'll set the work area start and then the work area duration, which is in seconds. So what we'll say is, instead of comp.time, we'll say comp.work area start. And then we'll say comp.work area duration is going to equal a single frame. To get that, we'll just say comp.frame duration. And then this should now create that effect for us. Let's go ahead and run this. And as you can see, now we have this little sliver right here, which is not even a frame. It's perfectly not a frame. If we wanted to, we could move the current time indicator to here as well, but we're really just rendering this because if we add this to the render queue now and just do like a test render, it's just rendering out a single frame. So what we'll do is now just add each of these items to the render queue. So we'll need, after everything, we'll say app.project.renderQueue.render, because we want to first, when we're looping through all of our items, we want to fill it up. We don't want to render it each time. We want to fill it up and then render it because each of these is a unique composition. We don't even need to open these in the viewer. This will save us time. Let's see. So we change our work area. We need a variable called render queue item. And module. Render queue item is going to be equal to app.project.renderQueue, and we're going to go to the items and add our composition. So now, just as we've been doing testing along the way here, we're going to run this, and it should now add, we need to add a comma here. It should now add each one of these to the render queue. Okay, so I just got very loud noise in my ear, the classic render fail sound. Undo group mismatch will attempt to fix. There are sometimes issues doing things like file importation with undo group. So let's just do this after we do the file import and see if that fixes our problem. Maybe turn the volume down just a little bit. And oh, it was actually it's doing the render for us. So it just rendered all these out to who knows where, our pictures folder. So it actually just rendered all these out for us in AVI format. So there's some tweaking we need to do. First, let's go ahead and turn off the render just so we can see these inside of the render queue. That was kind of the hope of what we're going to see there. So now we have each of these in here. We need to first, for each one of these, change it to, let's do JPEG. And then we need to change the output location to wherever we want it to be. In this case, let's use our original folder's location. So now we have a render queue item, right? We need to now get the modules, which are basically the output modules that we want. We want to get this first output module. You can have multiple, but we just want a single one to render out this JPEG for. I'm going to probably need a little assistance here to get the module. We have num output modules. So I believe here we just say module is equal to rq item dot output modules 0. Now let's say alert module and see if this is valid or not. Value, okay, so one weird thing about the output modules, it is an array, but it wants 1 as the first index. So do that. And now we get output module, output module, output module for each one. Perfect. So given we have an output module, can we look at the output module object? Where is that detailed? OM collection, output module object. From here, we can have access to the file, which we want because that is a file we can simply define with our path and name. We can define the name and the templates, and we can also apply a template. We want to do that. So we want to apply the JPEG template, JPG. So we will go ahead and say module.apply template, and we use a string, the string of the name, JPG. So this will now, let's go ahead and take a look, apply all of these to the render queue and apply the JPEG presets. All that's left to do now is to choose where we want to render these out to and what the name is going to be. Well, the name is obviously going to be the same as the original, but you can see it's going to add these pesky digits afterwards. We're also going to need to change that. So to change the location of a render, you need to take your module.file, and this can be equal to an extend script object. So we can say file folder.fs name. This will be the full path to our folder. And then we can put in our comp.name. And we can also put in .avi because we know the default module is going to give it that file format. And then once we apply JPEG, it will switch to that. So as of right now, if you click on this, it goes to your pictures folder, or mine at least. But now that we've set up the actual file object, they should now be going into our original folder, which they're being imported from. So now, I think I'm confident enough to say, well, let's go ahead and turn off the undo group. I'm just going to disable the undo group. And now we should be able to render out our thumbnails. And there we have it. We have a thumbnail for each of these batch exported. One last thing we have to do though, this pesky file name ending. So let's remove all of our JPEGs. And there's a super easy way to do this, all right? So once we render each of these, let's do this again. Files is equal to this folder, and now we have new files after we're done rendering, right? So this time we're going to loop through our files, and if files i.name.index, actually let's just do fsname because that includes the name and the file extension. We want to check if the fsname has is it capital JPEG? Lowercase JPEG. Does not equal -1. Instead of importing this, what we want to do is say files i.rename, and all we have to do is say files i.name.replace, and we're going to replace that pesky underscore 1 2 3 4 5 with nothing. I'm feeling fairly confident. Let's go ahead and run this. We are missing. So now it's going to render these out and then remove those pesky external digits. You can see we also have MOV in here. That's part of the name of the comp, so it also added that. We can add another replace in here and just say, because there's one instance of it, replace .mov with nothing again. Move those again and run this. And now we have nicely named preview thumbnails at a specified time, which contain the same exact image as well as the same exact file name, minus of course the extension, as our original videos. That's going to do it for this quick coding challenge video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. Down below, hit subscribe and the bell icon to be notified of new videos coming out twice a week on the channel. And down in the description, you can check out this code, which I will momentarily upload onto GitHub. And down in the description, you can follow us on GitHub there for coding updates and on Instagram for other live updates. If you're not already a member of our Discord server, make sure you come in and join to get help with scripting, extensions, plugins, submit tutorial ideas, and much more. And if you'd like to help support us on YouTube, you can do so in the description down below by becoming a member, supporter, premium supporter, or VIP, which comes with cool perks and again helps us out financially. And also check out the links in the description for AE Scripts, Gumroad, and Adobe Exchange for some other cool stuff I put out. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.